All right, it's time for a special Corunna Cavalier Live 3-point podcast. We're coming to you from the heart of Detroit, Michigan at the downtown Buffalo Wild Wings. We're presented by the Memorial Healthcare Wellness Center. Check out memorialhealthcare.org for everything they offer, including discounts for 2024. Also want to thank our other great friends and partners, AZ Branding Solutions, Jacobs Insurance Agency, Corey Shook and Associates Real Estate Services, Nelson House Funeral Homes, Rivals Tap House and Grill, Success Group Mortgage and Servicing, Woodworth Commercial, and of course our home here this afternoon, Buffalo Wild Wings. Matt, this is just an incredible atmosphere down here. People have showed up already. There'll be a lot more coming in as we continue this podcast all the way up to 3 o'clock, but nothing but love for the Cavalier Nation.
Yeah, I mean, people, we said it was going to kick off at noon, and we got here around 11 o'clock downtown to Buffalo Wild Wings, and people were already showing up. We saw the varsity jackets walking around downtown Detroit. We've got the second floor of the Buffalo Wild Wings down here, just about a block from Ford Field. We've got the second floor basically reserved for this Corunna podcast. So, I mean, it's already starting to fill up. This has got to feel pretty cool, huh? I mean, it's seeing everyone show up. And we got people's kids are here, and, every generation, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. We got older generation, younger generation, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a great spot. I mean, the food is out. They're starting to serve. They started with the chips and salsa, and they've got a line right now for the wings that they're famous for down here. But, we're going to talk a little bit of college football with the Wolverines coming up with a win yesterday. We'll talk a little bit about the Detroit Lions. We'll see if Jared can break away at all anytime here this afternoon to join us for maybe some of his thoughts. But it's just a great atmosphere.
It's a great atmosphere. And, I mean, we've talked about it so many times. It's such a cool weekend for high school football. How, the tradition on Thanksgiving weekend doing the state championships, it got moved back this year because of that Michigan State game on Friday. But Corunna getting to play on Sunday, I mean, I don't know about you. We've talked about it a little bit before we started recording. It's been surreal. I mean, you've been following Corunna close all year. We have been all year on this podcast. But seeing Corunna Cavaliers in all the MHSAA posts and all the all the state champs and all those the websites and everything that covered high school football in Michigan, seeing the Corunna Cavaliers at Ford Field, it's honestly, I mean, I've said it in some social media posts, I've said on here, it's like a dream. I mean, for me, you know better than anyone. You're born and raised. I mean, you're a Corunna guy. To grow up watching Corunna football, and then you get to play Corunna football. You've been covering Corunna football in your adult years. And this is the first time ever for Corunna being a state championship.
Well, it's funny. You brought it up. I think last week you were talking about it feels like a dream. And, I thought, yeah. Well, this morning I woke up and it truly felt like a dream. I mean, here we are, the Corunna Cavaliers. You're talking about me being the old guy. For crying out loud, I grew up right across the street from Nicanese Stadium. So I've seen football go on over there since the early 60s, and followed every Corunna team since then. And they've had some good ones.
Yep.
They've obviously had a Hall of Fame coach in Nicanese. They've had some tremendous all-state players. They've had fabulous teams. The team that we always seem to talk about is that 76 team,
Yep.
Undefeated. They just lost out in the playoffs. There was only 2 rounds of playoffs. You had a game and then you had the state championship.
Right.
That's what it was when they started. They missed out by percentage points. A very good team, probably the best team in their division that year. But this year's 2023 Corunna Cavaliers, they can stake the claim forever and ever. State champs, they already can stake the claim that they're made it to Ford Field, but they got a lot more on their mind right now to take home that hardware.
Right. I know we talked about it with Jared and talking about maybe at some point during this live podcast doing maybe like our Mount Rushmore of Corunna football teams, and maybe even a debate that's come up on the podcast a few times, our Mount Rushmore of Corunna quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
With obviously Wyatt Bauer making a very, very big name for himself in that category. So yeah, maybe at some point today we'll do that. We're going to try and get, I mean, I'm just looking around the room right now. This is so cool. I mean, you got people in varsity jackets, you got people in old jerseys. You got people in old like throwback T-shirts. Coach Herrick hooked me up with my jersey that I wore my senior year, so I might throw that on at some point. But
I love seeing the varsity coats. You know, it was kind of a lost thing. This current generation, I don't know if they wear them as much, or maybe the high school kids now do.
Right.
But it's something that I could not wait to get my varsity coat.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. I think we've talked about it on the podcast before, but my generation, so it was still a big thing. There's a lot of people from my class and around my era with their varsity jackets. For some reason, I didn't get one. You know, I don't know. I don't know if I didn't think it was cool or something. No, who knows? But I didn't get one. I kind of wish I would have one now so I could be wearing it today. But I know Jared has said by the time he came around, the varsity jacket thing had kind of gone away. So,
right.
And I get it. I mean, it's not like a jacket you're going to wear every day, you know, out or whatever. But it's definitely a cool memento to have if you've played some varsity sports and you can get some medals and some patches and stuff like that.
Well, I brought mine today. It doesn't fit quite like it used to, but I've got it here today. And I'll tell you what, we're just enjoying ourselves here at Buffalo Wild Wings. I mean, this is kind of a freelance podcast today. You know, we'll wave some people over for some interviews, maybe get some of their thoughts on Corunna. You know, we're definitely freelancing. So
just freelancing, and I mean, I think that's what makes it kind of fun because we're probably going to see a ton of people that we haven't seen in who knows how long. I mean, I've had people come up and say hi and giving hugs to everyone. Honestly, it's something we've talked about before, but it's something that makes, I think, the Corunna community very unique in the sense that, you know, you got a football team making a run like this year's team. And, I mean, look how it's bringing people together. You got, I mean, I worked, so last night at work, I had to do the Pac-12 After Dark. It's the last ever Pac-12 After Dark game.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Pac-12 is going away. So last night, the last ever Pac-12 After Dark game, I didn't get out of work until about 2. Went home, took a quick nap, and then got on the plane, got up here to Detroit. I mean, it's not that I'm running on fumes. I'm running on adrenaline right now.
You'll be running on fumes a little later on for sure. I'm surprised that you were able to get up. You know, you probably didn't sleep at all.
Yeah, I mean, after the Michigan win, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and then thinking about this Corunna game and the podcast we're doing and all this, I was fine, man. I was pretty hyped for it. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're in downtown Detroit at the Buffalo Wild Wings. Party put together by some great folks, including Memorial Healthcare's Wellness Center. Make sure you get a jump on your fitness goals with the limited offer winter membership sale, up to 15% off when your membership is paid in full. That's just a great deal. And I got to say again, a shout out to our host here, Buffalo Wild Wings, fan favorite. Hot barbecue is back. Plus, try the new rich and complex Bullet Bourbon barbecue sauce made with Bullet Kentucky Straight Bourbon whiskey. So, a couple great sponsors, Matt. We got this is living up to everything we thought it would. This place is starting to just jam packed with people.
I mean, I don't know if it's been the same with you because you're still obviously around the community. I've had friends texting me all week since this podcast was officially announced. I've had people texting me like, "Hey, do we need to show up early? Do we need to? We got someone coming in right now."
Yeah, I thought it'd be a good time. Let's see if we can hook up Jim Woodward, a big booster in our area.
And just use this mic. Sure. Got you set it up. Get your pretty face there. You know. We've been talking about all the throwback jerseys, and Jim's got one of the best throwback jerseys. You said you had. We went out to breakfast earlier. You said you had to. Old school jerseys were so big. You had
I cut the bottom off, like probably 4 inches of it. I don't want to tuck it all in my pants, you know. It's like usually we wear pads.
That's how you used to wear them in the day, wasn't it?
Right.
That's it, yeah.
I remember the ones that I wore. It was probably from your era, JV. You know how jerseys are. You get new ones. Those current jerseys get passed on to JV, and then those ones go down to freshmen. The ones that we had when I played JV, I'm not kidding. I mean, you think about how big kids are at JV football. Sleeves were down to our wrists.
Right.
Sleeves were down to our wrists. So,
well, same thing with basketball.
Yeah.
We wore the varsity jerseys the previous year, and then you just kept getting passed down. Eventually, those varsity jerseys were the freshmen.
Right.
And
you got to think about how big
times
you're
have
going to
changed.
be. And just the fact that, like, fashion, you know, back in those days, we wanted everything as baggy as possible. We wanted the biggest shorts possible.
Right.
Now, you want the
Now
Daisy
they
Dukes.
roll them.
Roll them up. You want to show as much thigh as possible.
Well, it's all Corunna stuff today, Jimmy. All Corunna, but I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, where did the brainstorm come to do this? Putting this all together has been a bit of an undertaking, I'm sure. But just give us a little background on having this big Cavalier party.
It's awesome. First off, this started at noon, right? And there was 50 people when I already in here. We got here at 11:10. So
It started at noon.
So it's an awesome atmosphere. So I reached out to Don Van Loon. I think it was after the Notre Dame prep game, and I said, Don,
Another Corunna alum.
I looked up to growing up. He was only a year older than me, but played the same positions, tight end, defensive end, and he was a phenomenal athlete. And I just said, hey, Corunna's got a really good shot at doing this. If they do, would you be interested in helping me co-host some type of party? Unfortunately, he couldn't be here. He lives out in Colorado, but he's all for it. And then I kind of told Randy, my brother, and Corey Schultz, that, hey, we're doing this. And they were just both, we're in, let's do it. This is awesome. So, really cool event, and the people from Buffalo Wild Wings have been awesome. And obviously, letting it as in such an hour early, this was supposed to be a 12 p.m. start. So we're packed house. It's awesome.
I mean, you got to think that it was probably going to be busy because we saw the Wings play this afternoon, the Red Wings, downtown Detroit. And then obviously all the other high school football games going on today. They were probably going to have some business today. But I mean, we just brought them
Corunna's taken over.
We just brought them 400 people.
You'll have to do like a pan of the crowd because this is only half the. We got another half over there too. So yeah, great crowd, and it's cool to see so many kind of varsity jackets, old jerseys. I've got a classmate that I haven't seen since I graduated. Flew in from Missouri to be here for us. So it's it's a really cool thing, and it's really it'll be just from Corunna too.
Oh yeah.
The community support all year has been great, but everyone's a Cavalier today. It's a lot of fun.
Amen. Thoughts on the game?
It's going to be a close game. I've been saying for the last few games, like, I'm nervous. And the people that are close to the program, don't be nervous. We got this. So I think it'll be a close game. There's been many, many times where we've had runs, whether it's basketball or football or whatever, where you run into a Catholic school from wherever, and it's just not been a game.
Right.
When we get this deep into it, and that's not going to be the case today. We've got a lot of talent. We're super deep. And even when Wyatt went down last week, wasn't worried. Caden is a really good backup. He's shown that in the Cougars game. We really had a hard time moving the ball initially, and Wyatt went out for a few plays, and he came in for a touchdown pass.
Lit it up.
Really got that offense going. We were like, who knows what would have happened, but he kind of was a spark plug for us. So I've got a lot of faith in, from top to bottom in this team, the next man up mentality. It's a really deep team.
Yeah, I can't wait for 4 o'clock, man. I just cannot wait.
We got a little, so on our StreamYard that does a live, there's a comments section.
Oh, good.
So I want to read. My wife, actually, she's on the road right now, so I'm not sure if she should be commenting on Facebook
Maybe she's
Live.
talk texting.
But she just commented, "Go Cavs!" Of course, she's a Cavalier alum also. And Gil McVicker coming down from Marine City and meeting up with the boys from Gladwin to cheer on the Cavs. So we got people from Marine City and Gladwin coming in to cheer on Corunna. So it's not even just Corunna. I mean, I bet you, there might be a lot of people coming in, or people, just from Shiawassee County coming down. It's a big deal. So, I mean, you were around. Your basketball team's had some success. My basketball team went to the Final Four. But, we've had track, cross country, wrestling, obviously a ton of success, and some other sports too. But you know Corunna very well. Grew up in the area, and you're still around. What do you think it means for Corunna's football team?
Football being state championship. Football, for the community, it's way different. Yes, track and field, and I was on one of those teams as a member. I didn't do anything. I got the patch up my jacket.
All right.
But football, even like basketball, Ted can probably attest to this. This is way different to be part of a football.
Look at Ted's shirt.
Like this. It's a football town. I remember being, in 8th grade, and they, the Flint Journal back then did an article on Corunna and how the community just goes above and beyond, unlike any other program in the area.
Yeah.
And so it's been like that for 30 plus years. It's just a really cool thing to be a part of. And when you look around and see, look at that
1993 jacket over there.
Field jacket.
Hey, I got him beat. Mine's 74.
It's just,
but his
some of the
fits.
stuff. My cousin, who was a 1975 grad, is came in from Kalamazoo, and she's just, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So it's awesome. It's been a great week, and I texted you, Matt, last night. I'm like, man, I feel like a kid on Christmas Eve.
I know. It's unbelievable. You know, and I've been doing this for a long time, as you guys know, and I've always tried to be as non-partial as I can when I broadcast. All bets are out today.
You don't have to hide it today.
All the way.
You don't have to hide it today. We'll let you get back to your mingling.
Yeah. Thanks for coming down and doing this with us, too. It's awesome.
Oh, we appreciate it.
And as usual, we always mention we appreciate your partnership on the pod, too. Success Group Mortgage and Servicing.
Any quick sentence you want to pass on to our listeners, a selling thing?
No, it's not about me today.
All
it's
right,
not about
fair enough.
It's all Cavs, so
Fair
I just
enough.
appreciate you guys coming and being part of this awesome experience. And it's going to be a great day, so let's get it done.
Day.
All right, Jim.
You guys.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Watch the cord down there. I know it's a little bit of a hazard, but awesome. Jim Woodworth, I remember going to watch Jim, one of the first guys watching dunk the ball for Corunna basketball. I remember being a kid.
A late developer.
Watching Jim Woodward throw it on a dunk.
Yes.
For Corunna basketball and just being like, wow, this is possible. But to that point, think about it. Me saying a kid watching a guy like Jim dunk the ball, thinking I want to be up there playing basketball at the court that should be named after Frank Davis.
Come over. Let's grab John Miller.
That's what's happening.
Come on,
right
John.
now.
Just for a minute. Just stand. Come on. This is a Cavalier party.
We got someone coming on right here.
Grab that microphone.
Right there, but yeah, go ahead and take a seat and grab the mic. Go ahead and do a little.
All right, John. I mean, you were obviously a standout football player back in your day. You're tight to the program this year. What does this feel like being a part of it now as a parent as compared to when you played?
Is it more stressful?
It is stressful, especially because there's two of them out there.
Right.
It's been a great ride. It's been fun. When you played, you can control your emotions a little bit out there. You had the ability to get rid of it. Today, I can say, see what happens.
Yeah.
Now, refresh my memory. I know you're in the 90s, one of those great teams. When did you graduate, and which was your team?
I graduated in 95.
Okay, the 94 team then.
92 as a sophomore, and then 94.
Okay.
So the 90.
2-9-0
team. So we've had plenty of debates. I don't know if you listen to the podcast. It's okay if you don't, but we have plenty of debates on the Mount football teams. I think, hey, there's Kyle Clark right there. Speaking of Mount Rushmore,
yeah, he's on the quarterback list.
He's on the quarterbacks one for sure. But this, I think it's fair to say this year's team probably is up there at top. But where would you put your 94 team or one of the other teams that you played on? Is it on the Mount Rushmore of Corunna?
For sure.
Yeah. I mean,
it's so hard to say. You watch today's game.
Very different. Yeah.
Everything's so fast.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing to watch this team this year? We all watched them growing up and knew they were going to be good. But you never know what kind of distractions happen in life. But they've stuck together. They've had this mission. And I'm just blown away of what's happened these last 3 years, capped off by this year.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a fun ride. And like you said, we knew that they were going to do it.
You can see it.
But there's always those distractions. Injuries are
Injuries.
Big injuries that made that team not quite get out there.
Sure.
Not knock on that team.
Yeah.
It
happens. I mean, sometimes you got to get lucky and you got to stay healthy. I mean, especially at a school like Corunna, who doesn't have the enrollment of some of these, big Grand Rapids or Detroit schools where they've got a ton of depth. This year's team, they'll have depth. If a guy goes down, they have next man up mentality. So we'll let you get back.
We'll let you get back.
Let's give him, what do we have for him?
What do you
Buffalo
want?
Wild Wings cards?
You want a Buffalo Wild Wings card? You want a
What do you Rivals cards? What do you want?
We're good.
No. We got something.
There you go. Yeah, that's cool. The boys like Buffalo Wild Wings.
There you go.
All right. Thanks, John.
For sure.
Enjoy.
All right. Again, you can hear the crowd in the background. We're at Buffalo Wild Wings in downtown Detroit. We're just going to grab people freelancing as we go, Matt. You're doing great putting the sound together here. I see more and more comments
I was
coming
going to say,
in.
let me read some of these. So we got Brad McKinnis says heading out at 1. Hope to be at Buffalo Wild Wings by 2. Hope we can get in. Devin Robinson, so thankful for this podcast. I mean, that's cool to hear. I don't know. Sean Moffitt, one of your favorites.
Oh.
He hits me up on Twitter all the time.
Sean from Vernon.
And here's one of the Mount Rushmores right here.
Absolutely.
Kyle Clough, go ahead and grab that mic. Yeah, watch those cords down there. But
Kyle Clough.
Yep, one of my good buddies. Played, football, basketball, baseball. We have a debate off. So we got to get unbiased, you know. You know how Jared's going to hop in at some point if he can. He's busy with Valley, obviously. And you know Jared would love to hear this debate right here. So the Mount Rushmore of Corunna quarterbacks. Personally, I put you up there at number one. I think it's fair to say Wyatt has probably put himself up there, which is no shame. It's kind of like the LeBron, Michael Jordan thing. You know, Michael Jordan's here, but if LeBron's going to be below him, it's kind of not. You know what I mean? Yeah. What would you say? How does Wyatt look to you as quarterback? High school football?
He's unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, truly, I left that game. I've only seen the Notre Dame prep game in person, and he can do things that I couldn't do. There's no question, you know. And so you gotta give him the nod. I think from an individual statistics perspective, from a team collective perspective, the last couple of years, what those guys have done as a team, and you know, I think that's. I think we'll do this. We were talking. That's what these special runs are so fun for. You know, they bring up these conversations. Look at this place, right? All these different generations of Cavaliers in here. It's like
it spread like wildfire too. They said you're going to be there. We're Cavaliers. We're going to be there.
Getting chills walking in. You know, I mean, we think back when we played, and I think when you're a player, this is the stuff you don't get to come to, but this is the stuff that I think years later you hear about it. People talk about, and it's especially in a community like Corunna, it's just so awesome. You know, so he's individually he's unbelievable.
He's a good player. It's a different game now too. We were towards the end. We've talked about it before. We were towards the end of traditional Corunna smash mouth football. We threw it a little more than Corunna used to, but now I mean they throw it all over the yard, but they can run the hell out of the ball too.
We were like on the verge of, you know, Northwestern spread was just coming into the mix in the early 2000s, and so I still tell Herrick we would have won the South Christian game if he would have turned us loose and let us throw it like we did in Belding game. Jokingly, of course, but you know,
also serious.
We slung it around a few times, and you know, we had some fun too. Obviously, you were an incredible receiver and made life easy for us. But you know, these guys are fun. There's no issues looking back and taking a back seat to these guys. When you get to Ford Field, man, you've done something pretty awesome.
Now you're in the Rockford area, obviously, the great head coach of the Rockford Rams. What's the scuttlebutt over there? Are they looking past Corunna, or what are you hearing over there in the Grand Rapids area?
You know, that's a good question. I've got a lot of connections in the world over there, and I've had some conversations with some people. TJ Merriman, their basketball coach, a great friend of mine. I think they know that Corunna's the real deal. I do. I mean, I think they're very confident. You don't get here 5 times in 8 years without feeling like you're going to come here to win. But the Cavs have got their attention. I think that they know that they're up for a great game today, and it sounds like there's going to be a lot of really good athletes, a lot of speed, and the ball's going to be getting thrown all over the place. So from his perspective, it should be an awesome one.
Should be awesome.
Well, last question I want to ask you. So you're the head coach over at Rockford. You've been up in the Rockford community for a while now. 8,000 people go to Rockford football games or something ridiculous? The support for the Rockford community up there is just awesome and insane. But do you see a similarity with Corunna, but obviously maybe a little bit of a smaller scale where, like we said, we got 1993 jackets over here. We got varsity jackets. I mean, the Corunna community in that sense is pretty unique.
It's unbelievable. You know, Brent Gieskin and I were texting yesterday, another guy who's obviously a great quarterback in our tradition here. And, you know, he actually said it's going to get a little emotional going in here today. And I think that's funny because we all grow up. We all have the same aspirations, and I think in that respect, Corunna is a lot like Rockford. I think Rockford kids grow up thinking you're coming here to play to win a state title, you know, and I think we grew up that way, you know. And I told Steve this last week. I said my only regret is I don't know if we knew we were quite good enough to get here, and we weren't far off.
No.
We knew we were really good, but that was what I told Steve when we talked. I said make sure your kids believe because looking back, we thought. Oh man, I think it was Coopersville. We couldn't beat them anyway, and then South just blasted them.
Yeah, right.
So there's a lot of similarities. You know, I think that the way that people come back like this, the way they support it, the expectations of you're going to be a championship caliber team. You know, that's the neat part for these guys like the Bowers and those guys. They won't really feel the effects of what they've done for this community for 10 years.
Exactly.
10 years from now, there's little kids that are here today that are going to be growing up wanting to be like them. And, you know, we were like that with the 96 teams, the 94 teams.
Yep.
You I remember being in the sideline with my dad in '94 and '96, and at Atwood Stadium, and that's what makes you dream big. And so these kids walking in there today, what a treat they're going to have, and what a special opportunity for them to kind of go in here and hopefully watch the Cavs host the big trophy up there.
Oh, man, just think what it's going to do for the whole program. I mean, they're pretty solid as it is, but they got a great junior class, and the sophomores and freshmen coming up along with the younger kids. What a thrill to kind of set the stage for a big-time program.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I know Maddie probably feels the same way when you get away from Corunna for a while. Those things kind of start to drift away, but boy, has this fun brought back a lot of memories. We've had a good group chat going, and just bringing back things that you forget about.
Oh, and you guys also kicked in to sponsor the radio broadcast.
Oh, yeah, that was a no-brainer. We appreciate what you do, and
that's awesome.
It brings it all back for us. I mean, it's really cool to be here. I got my son here, and it's just awfully neat. Really excited to be back and wearing this gold shirt. It's the only hat I think that still fits. So, but no, appreciate you guys. And
go get in line, get some food and drink.
And hook them up with some Buffalo Wild Wings cards.
You want a Buffalo? Here you go.
Appreciate it, man. Awesome.
There you go.
Thanks for all you guys do. Okay, we'll go Cavs.
Yeah,
sounds good, man.
All right, watch that cord down there.
Here at Buffalo Wild Wings in downtown Detroit, Michigan, our pregame tailgate presented by some great folks, including AZ Branding Solutions. They elevate brands with video, web design, and printing services, growing your brand from A to Z. And, we can't have a podcast without talking about our great Prep Spotlight sponsors, Jacobs Insurance Agency, the sponsors of the Prep Spotlight, ensuring everything local, independent, and trusted.
Hey,
and
there's one right there.
We got trouble behind us?
We got trouble behind us. So this is part of I brought this up. So this guy right here, you can see him doing a little jig back there, getting a little dance.
I see him.
Zach Marble.
Oh, he came in from Korea?
He came in from Korea.
Oh, my.
Sort of. So he's from my class, graduated 2003. He played on our 2002 football team. One of my best friends. Right. He lives over in Seoul, South Korea now. He's been on the podcast.
Exactly. We had a good conversation with him.
Years ago, yeah. He's a business owner and stuff like that over in Seoul, so doing really well for himself. But he usually comes back, once a year or something. But when he does, he comes back for a good month or so. But this is how cool Corunna is in this whole situation. He was going to fly back before this game. He changed his flight back to South Korea to make sure he could be here for the Corunna State Championship game.
Good for
so
him.
We talk about stuff like that, man. And Kyle was talking about it, and, everyone we've talked to so far has. It's seriously unique because I know you've been all over the country and everything. You've traveled a lot. But I've lived in Connecticut for 5 years, lived down in Charlotte, North Carolina for about 6-7 years, and talking to people I work with, talking to people in the community, seeing the schools and stuff like that in some of those other communities. Obviously, there are other school districts like Corunna, very tight-knit, close, and everything like that. But it is pretty unique. Not every school district is like that. And, something I think that is different is we talked to Jason Hutton last week on, about Grand Rapids Catholic Central, and he was talking about how some schools, like maybe Catholic Central, when the kids graduate, the families kind of, disconnect.
Drift apart, yeah.
They don't have kids in the district anymore, so, they kind of drift apart. Corunna stays connected. I mean, it's a very unique thing, I think, that these kids, like Kyle was saying, these kids will realize 10, 15 years from now what this run is doing.
The parochial schools do add a lot in different aspects, but they definitely don't have the community feel that little small schools like Corunna has. Casey, pull up a chair there.
Oh, man.
We got the voice of the
new
Corunna Cavaliers.
The new voice of the Corunna Cavaliers.
How's it going, fellas?
Casey Smith and drummer for Chi-Town.
Yeah,
you guys had a show last night at one of our other great partners, Rivals Tap House and Grill. You guys played a show there last night, right?
Yeah, it was awesome. There were so many people there wearing their Corunna jackets.
Squeeze on in,
you
Bart.
Could just tell
watch the cords down there.
You could just tell that
cords.
Today was going to be even better because, the whole town, I feel like, is here. It's awesome.
So, you guys know, we anyone who listens to we always post the games that you guys call on our podcast site. You're taking over for Ted. You're doing a killer job, honestly. I'm not trying to fluff you over or whatever, You really do a really good job, especially stepping in for a legend over here.
I know.
Where? Over there.
Over there. He's getting a drink over there. But we were talking before we started this whole podcast today and everything. This is setting the bar pretty high for you.
It's
The first season that you're
a
calling a state championship game.
it's like it's almost like the stars aligned and everything just perfectly worked out. Like I teach at Corunna Middle School. A lot of the kids on the team I had in class my very first year teaching. Then Ted decides that he's going to semi-retire, and then I'm like, yeah, I'll take over. And then sure enough, Corunna goes to the state championship game. It's just been like unreal. Like there's so many times where I'm just like, is this really even happening? It's just been awesome.
Now, we're also joined here by Bart Matthews, our color commentator. He's been here doing it for many years. I think 12 years now doing the actual games, but probably 25 being part of the Castle crew. What do you think about this Corunna run, Bart?
Well, I got to say, this is easily the most exciting team that I think we watch on a regular basis. I'm going to go a step farther and say it's probably the best team that we've watched on a regular basis. And then you get a situation like this, last week, the parade and escorting everybody out. And it was cool because we were basically in the stands broadcasting up at the top. So great turnout there, but this is amazing. This is really cool.
So you've called, I asked you before the podcast, you've called a handful or more of state championship games.
Correct.
What would you, I don't know, you kind of just said it, I guess. What's the difference between those games that you've called and this one, the whole run? What do you remember some of the teams that you called?
Difference between what I've called and what we're calling today?
Community, like connection and the following and all that kind of stuff.
Well, we did 2 New Lothrop games.
New Lothrop's a pretty tight-knit community.
New Lothrop is tight-knit, but I don't think New Lothrop had the buzz that this team has. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I don't know if it's because of the size or how remote they are in the county compared to a school like Corunna. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's the expectation that they've been there a couple of times.
Getting a little spoiled, maybe.
But you go throughout Shiawassee County, and pretty much every community has got stuff in their yard, stuff in their window. It's not just Corunna. Go through downtown Owasso and see what's on all the windows. It's amazing what's really going on for this team.
Yeah.
And I think another thing that just adds to the Corunna piece of it, and like we've mentioned on the broadcast a couple times, but this junior-senior class has had these expectations since 4th, 5th, 6th grade.
That's so cool.
To see it all come to fruition, and I think for those who saw on Valley Sports the feature about Corunna, the quote that Steve Herrick had, their coach, was like amazing. He just said, I hope they remember what it took to get here, not just that they get here. Because, that's 7-8 years of hard work and commitment, working together, staying together. That's another thing that I think separates this team from maybe some other teams in the past.
Yeah, because a lot of kids in middle school football, Pee-wee football, talk about, that'd be fun to play at Ford Field. And then, maybe they start playing other sports or they drift away from football. Whatever could happen. So for this team to stay connected, put in the work. It takes a lot of work. You got to have the talent, first of all. They've clearly got the talent. But you can't win on talent alone. You could win the conference maybe on talent alone, but you've got to put in the work if you want to make it to Ford Field. And I think it is something that they'll look back on and truly appreciate.
Right. And not just the physical work. Like, this team doesn't make any mental mistakes. Right. Like, I can probably count on one hand how many penalties that they've had. Like, they just don't make any mistakes. They're always in the game. There's never any wall in the defense gave up a big touchdown here. Like, they just play their game all 4 quarters, and it's just been super special to watch.
One more game. Full, complete game by the Cavaliers today. That's all we want, right?
This is the ultimate. You hear all the cliches on Friday Night Lights and Remember the Titans and all these movies. You leave it all out there, right?
Yeah.
Whatever trick plays Herrick has up his sleeve, if anyone's a little dinged up or anything, you're putting it all out there.
You got 48 minutes.
48 minutes. I think one of the movies said that 48 minutes for the rest of your life, right? Yeah. You're literally going to remember this for the rest of your life. So
yeah.
You put it all out there.
So I think we might have already talked about it, but your first year, Casey, you're going to be up. You're going to be up in the professional broadcast booth, 7 floors above Ford Field. Again, to get prepared, you're going to want to get there and get your eyes focused because, man, it's a tough look.
I saw someone share, you and Bart and Ted, you guys would know. So I saw someone share a picture of what you're just talking about. Do you have to call the game up there? Or, obviously for these high school games, they don't sell out Ford Field. could you take your stuff and go sit in the lower bowl if you wanted to?
We technically could. The only thing we wouldn't get out of that is we wouldn't get the stats fed to us.
Okay.
We get all that. It's all
Right.
We could do that, but it's not all that bad. I'm kind of making a little fun of it being on the 7th floor, but we do have the luxury of having monitors right up.
Oh, right.
And how many people can say you've been in the Ford Field press box suite where media is and everything? Yeah.
That's cool.
Even did the Silver Dome. So
Yeah.
No, I will say, like, Bart and Ted have both been super helpful, just getting me through the year, and like all the questions I have, they've been more than helpful, reaching out and stuff like that. So really, it's been a seamless transition for me, at least. I hope our listeners would say the same.
With,
and it's just
with
been
Corunna
awesome.
involved, we've kind of had a seamless transition to a 3-man booth. I mean, it's worked out pretty well.
Well, pretty cool.
All
you
right,
guys
guys.
excited or what?
Oh yeah.
I'm
All right.
pumped.
So, well, on College Game Day, like if Herbie is calling the game, he can't give a prediction. You guys not want to give a prediction? That's fine if you don't.
No, if there was a Cavalier mascot head right now, I'd put it on. I would go fully torso.
So what's your unbiased prediction?
There you go.
Well, Matt, you talked
No,
about
be biased. I don't care.
You talked about cliches. How many times have you heard, well, it's going to be a close game? Probably I feel like everyone has that in their mind. I think Cavaliers are going to win by a touchdown.
Okay.
I think I'm going to go maybe 28-21. I think it might start a little slow, and two teams might feel each other out a little bit, and then second half we might see some points get put on the board. So Cavaliers by a touchdown.
Bart?
Yeah, going by touchdown is kind of the safe call, but I would not be surprised if Corunna ends up blowing them out.
What?
Blows them out. And the reason I say that is just because of the path of destruction that they've had all season long. It would not surprise me at all because they can get up on somebody early and they've got the defense to stop a comeback.
That's the big thing, that
you're-
defense.
You've got, 4 solid all-star, state
Caliber.
weapons there that they're going to be hard to stop everybody on that team. Wouldn't surprise me if they jump out early and blow them out. I'm not going to say it's going to happen. I'm not guaranteeing it.
Yep.
I think, like you said, Casey, probably a 1 touchdown score.
Oh, stick with the blowout. I like that better.
You like
Stick
blowout?
with it. Stick with
All
it.
right, we're going to blow them out. I'm going to say by 30.
About 30.
All right.
No, 35. We're
Got
going
to
to
get
have
the
a
running clock, right?
We're going to have a running clock. We're going to get back to Shiawassee County a lot sooner than people think. So yeah, running clock. Why not?
There you go. Off the top rope.
I mean, how many games did they have that weren't a running clock?
There was. This is
2, right?
This is 14. They've done 11 out of 13. 11 out of the 13.
11
Have
out
been
of
running
13,
clock.
basically.
Crazy.
The Notre Dame game.
Yeah.
And Armada.
Right.
Numbers back me up then.
That's right.
Can't go
Stick
wrong.
with it. All right,
Awesome.
fellas.
Well, thanks, guys. So, yeah,
Go enjoy your food and drink.
anyone out there who's watching this, if you're not going to be at Ford Field, listen to these guys call the game on Z92.5.
Yep.
Radio, website, free app.
Tune In Radio. We're on Tune In Radio.
New voice of the Corunna Cavaliers.
Casey Smith. Well, this is incredible.
This is awesome, man.
This is just awesome, guys. What a party down here in Detroit. Isn't this awesome?
This is
Are you
awesome,
glad
man.
you flew up now?
Dude, it gives me goosebumps because, I mean, it's just like, I don't know, you just, you're like, when you get older, like we talked about the kids, 5, 10, 15 years from now, they will look back. I was going to ask Kyle. We didn't want to take up too much of Kyle's
Right.
time. But so Kyle was the point guard on our basketball team. Your brother,
Exactly.
John, Jared's dad, was the head coach. And John would talk to us about everything that every coach probably does. Live in the moment. Don't take anything for granted. Soak it all in. All that kind of stuff. And he would tell us, we had an awesome pep assembly. I saw they had a cool pep assembly
Oh,
at the
yeah.
high school for this football team. We had a similar thing when we were going to Breslin for the Final Four in basketball. And he would tell us, you called our basketball games at Inlay City, DeWitt. We were just packing the stadiums at Breslin even. He would tell us things like, look around, try and soak this in. But, when you're 17, 18, you're like, yeah, all right, yep, maybe you do look around a little bit, but then you're thinking about playing or whatever. And it really is stuff like this that I think, when they're wearing those rings, going off of Bart's predictions, they will also think back on this. I heard something, Andy Oginski, one of my buddies, he does stats up there. He played in the early 2000s. he told me that Coach Harvey, Dave Harvey, who is a Corunna legend also.
Yeah.
Uh,
Might be on that Mount Rushmore, by the way.
might be, he played, coached, and, still involved in the program. Andy told me that Dave, because Andy has Austin Oginski as his nephew on the defensive line. So he's still obviously
Excellent player.
Closely. That Dave Harvey had to talk to the team about that. Like, look at what you guys are doing for the community. Not only are you doing this for yourselves, but this is a really cool thing that you're doing for the community. And I mean, they're already legends, but can you imagine?
Oh.
You know firsthand.
Firsthand.
All you hear growing up, at least our generation, was 1983
83 team, yep.
So imagine if the football team wins a state title.
Yeah, it's already, like you said, legendary team. But if they can come away with that victory today, oh my God, it'll be something that will be forever.
And not just Corunna, Shiawassee County.
100%.
I mean, so New Lothrop. What other? Just I know off the top of your head, Shiawassee County. What other football teams have won a state title?
Well, Chesaning technically not Shiawassee County. They're on the edge of Saginaw County, but I consider them our area. They won 98, one of the most epic state final games I've ever called. Ryan Brady went wild. Right? I think they won 41-38 over Belding, and just a great game. And then in 2001, they repeated it, winning it on a Matt Ferry punt return. So you got Chesaning, you got New Lothrop, you had Ovid Elsing made it to the finals. If Chris Robinson wouldn't have got dinged up in that second half, probably would have won that game. So Corunna's joined a very elite group.
And that's it, right?
Right, pretty much it in our area.
And I'm just talking Shiawassee County. Yep. So New Lothrop, Shiawassee
County.
Oh wait,
Morris ended up winning the state championship, an 8-man.
So still not very many football state championships in our area. So very cool.
We were talking to Casey too. This is his first one. Fortunately for me, I've been around a long time. This is my 20th football state championship call, man. It's been a cool run. This is going to be the last one too.
And it's honestly. Not to wax poetic or whatever, but before we have one of your he calls basketball games with you, right?
Basketball color, Joe Smith.
Sit down,
right.
Joe. Watch those scores right there. Before we let Joe hop in, or maybe as you hop in, this was supposed to be your retirement year. You were going to flip aside. Casey was going to fill in.
I was just going to do a couple of Corunna games with him.
How much of a just amazing story is it that we've called high school football in Mid-Michigan for so long, Corunna guy through and through. Yeah. In your final year, you're getting to call a Corunna football game in the state title game.
It's magical, I mean, I could really wax poetic about maybe some reasons why I think. I won't do that just because I'd probably burst into tears. But you're right. I mean, originally I was just going to cover some games on the sideline, put it on our social media. I was going to sit in on Corunna games only, and then look at the run Corunna's been on. It's been amazing. Casey stepped right into it. Fantastic job. He is so far superior to when I started, when his dad Joe started. I had to throw that in there.
Well, I'm just going to – where do you think he learned?
That's right.
What I want to tell you.
Of course.
A cool thing, I mean, this, I'm sure. He told us, and I used to do this too when I was a kid, playing video games and stuff. I would act like I was calling the game as I was playing. But Casey told us that he would do that. He'd go back and watch games and practice announcing them and stuff like that. And Ted, it's not just something that, I know football, I could pick up the mic and call play-by-play. There is an art to it. And
he always was a weird little kid, I'll be honest with you. And as far as Ted waxing poetic, I love it when he waxes poetic.
He's got that perfect radio voice.
Matt, it's really awesome to finally get to meet you.
You too.
I just want to compliment you on the stellar job you do for this podcast.
Appreciate it.
Not only your comments, throughout the podcast, but just the professionalism. This thing is edited perfectly, and I just am amazed by what you do.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate it.
Today's live broadcast won't be quite the sweet edit.
Maybe not a sweet edit, but some pretty cool content.
Absolutely.
But honestly, it's one of those things. We've talked about it. Me, Ted, and Jared. It's when you love doing it. I think the three of us genuinely love doing this podcast. It's not like we make a full-time living off of this. Right. So, if we're going to put in the time to do this, you got to love to do it, right? And I genuinely love to do this.
And it shows. Well, it shows. It shows on all three of your parts. So my compliments and keep up the good work.
Well, let's get to some business now. You know, we talked about Casey a little
Let's
bit.
go enjoy the tailgate.
we talked about Casey. How excited are you to call basketball games with your son?
I can't. I've been so jealous this entire football season. I've called a couple finals from the Silver Dome,
Yes, you
never
have.
from Ford Field. I kept waiting for somebody to get sick and I could step in, but no, you guys are healthy, unfortunately. But I am so looking forward to basketball season and getting to work with Casey. I don't know how he's looking forward to it. You know, it's a little different working with your dad.
Right.
You know,
I think
it's going to be a lot of fun.
I bet he'll enjoy
I have
it.
high hopes for this Cavalier basketball team.
Once all their football players come back and play,
Absolutely.
right? I was talking to Jim Woodworth about it because he's involved in the coaching too, and he was saying basketball team has a game on Monday, but half of their team is playing football today,
Right.
so they've got to bring up like JV players so they can at least field the team. But that's besides the point. We're talking about football.
Well, our
right
first
now.
our first game on the radio is Friday. This coming
really?
Friday. Owasso at Ovid Elsie.
That's crazy.
I'll tell you one thing. These varsity jackets are hot.
Well, at least yours fits. Ted has it.
Well, you don't notice I don't have it buttoned up yet.
No way mine can buck.
It is cool seeing all this, though, isn't it?
This is just an amazing atmosphere. Kudos to Corey Shook and Jim Woodworth and Van Loon for helping
Randy Woodworth.
and Randy Woodworth, everybody for putting this on. It's unbelievable, and you can see the support. The community is here. They were here at what time? 11:30 when you guys got here?
We got here at 11 and they were already here.
I mean, it's just they didn't open till noon, but they had to open early for the Corunna people. That's
100%.
awesome.
All right, Joe, before we let you go, your thoughts, analyst. What do you think on the game?
I've watched a little bit of the competitors' film on the NFHS network. I'm not
Good team.
concerned. I'm a Corunna man through. I believe that Corunna will come out victorious. That's my prediction.
All right.
It's going to be a good game.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Well,
Joe?
Take care.
got any more gift cards you want to give?
Oh, we
Or?
got some chicken wings. All
Thanks,
right.
Joe. Yep,
I don't
watch
know if
it.
I can eat it right now. Just set them down over here.
Oh, what'd you do? You got some wings and
We
some
got
fries or
wings,
something?
man. We're gonna have to wait till we're done talking.
Yeah, I can't eat wings with my
I've
hands
seen
off.
the ESPN tailgate before. I mean, they dive right into it, man.
This is so cool. Speaking of ESPN tailgate, let's 5 minutes, quick.
Let's do it.
The game yesterday. 3 in a row for Michigan over Ohio State. This one felt a little sweeter. Each one, obviously in 2021, the first one in however long was just incredible. The way they beat them last year, just blowing them out in Columbus. Something about this year's game, though, with all the stuff going on off the field, Harbaugh not on the sidelines, Ryan Day, all the junk that he was talking.
Love that.
And it was a great game, though. A great game. But, man, Michigan pulled it out. Just an awesome win for the Wolverines, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those nail-biting games. You know, the Buckeyes wouldn't give up. Michigan, at times, I was questioning some of the play calls.
Yeah.
But then as
Little
the game
conservative,
went, a little too conservative sometimes with those runs up the middle.
Yeah.
You know, they got guys that can get it outside, but at least Corum started in middle one a couple different times and then took it out.
So,
Big win, though. Sharon Moore, I mean, you got to give that guy a lot of credit. He's going to get a big-time job someday.
you got to be – I mean, this has to be one of the more impressive assistant coaching stepping in as a head coach. Because remember, he coached against Bowling Green early in the season. You know, kind of
4-0 this year, huh?
Yep. And then these last 3 games, Penn State, Ohio State.
And
as an
Maryland was the
assistant
big
coach,
trap
and
game.
Maryland, I mean, he's playing himself into a head coaching job, that's for sure. So Michigan's either going to have to pay up or he's going somewhere else.
You know, and back to that game, I mean, I think I put it in my instant reaction video. This was so sweet because you got 2 unbeaten teams, Michigan and Ohio State, in the game with every playoff implication on the line, which won't be the case next year. If you got Michigan and Ohio State undefeated going into, if they still play it last game of the year, I haven't even looked at the revised schedules. It won't mean the same. It'll still be Michigan, Ohio State, but it won't be for the playoff. You know, and that one part of me, I think we've talked about on the podcast before, the regular season doesn't quite mean as much as this year. And I guess a long-winded way of saying it, this means even more.
It meant everything. And it was one of those things, too, where you could say if Michigan would have lost this, who knows what's going to happen with Jim Harbaugh in the future. And that a loss, knocking them out of the playoff, knocking them out of the Big Ten championship. And again, whoever knows what's going to happen with Jim Harbaugh, they could have really knocked the program off the wheels a little bit. So we're going to be joined by another one of our great partners over here. She was involved in getting this all set up. Watch your feet down there. Oh, here's the guy right here. Zach.
All right, Corey Shook is here.
So he can stay here for the Corunna game.
Corey, appreciate your help on this party, everything you do in mid-Michigan. Just what's this feel like being down here as part of this big party?
This is crazy. I don't think I've ever seen this many. Am I supposed to speak into this?
Yes.
Sorry, guys. Usually people can hear me from anywhere.
You're not yelling at your kids now.
Right, exactly. No, this is crazy. Like, I don't think I've ever seen this many Cavaliers in one place. Just the excitement. I mean, this is what it's all about. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, this whole season has been incredible, and this party was perfect the way you and Jimmy put it together. You knew Cavalier Nation was going to come out. We've talked about it multiple times. There was people already getting in here at 11 o'clock this morning. This wasn't even supposed to start till noon.
No, I said something to Jim weeks ago, and I was like, what are we going to do? We got to do something. And he's like, oh, I got something. We're working on it. So I said, well, I want to be in on it. For sure.
We had talked about possibly maybe throwing together a live podcast or something like that before the game. So the minute I saw you guys throwing something together, I was like, hey, Jim, we want in on this. Yeah. Especially if you're going to have Buffalo Wild Wings and everything involved. So how cool is it to see all these varsity jackets? We mentioned it, 1993. Ted's got 1974.
I think that was 74 is probably the earliest I've seen there yet. But yeah, I was bragging it up on Facebook because my grandpa was on the 1947 team, Ken Hitchcock, and my uncle Glenn was on the 76 team. And I know that crowd I heard is coming, and they're all bringing their varsity jackets.
Oh my goodness!
So yeah, it's going to be an amazing day.
Well, there's not many of that group together still alive. When you think about it. I mean, that's what I was talking about earlier when I said I could wax poetic. My dad, Bill Strigo. They would be so into it if they were here today. But they're here. Part of it.
For sure. Yeah, I asked my grandpa a couple questions yesterday at Thanksgiving, and I'm like, I brought out his picture. I'm like, look at you.
It's so cool. I think that's unique. I mean, you have generations, and you've been in Corunna for a long time or in the area. There's so many generations in the school system. There are other cities and towns like that, but I think it makes Corunna unique. That there are, grandpas. The Bowers. Yeah, the Bauer generation. There's other ones on the team too. Yeah, like that is very cool for Corunna.
I actually the pride around it that I have. Ted's probably heard me before. I introduce myself that way. Right. Like when I'm out in the community and I'm working, and I often say I'm a Hitchcock. I'm a third generation, and I am a bleed black and gold. My kids are fourth generation. My husband also went to Corunna, so yeah, my mom, everybody.
Yeah, it is cool.
Well, we can't tell you we appreciate this so much for being a part of this, putting this together. It's awesome,
and just your partnership on the podcast too. We appreciate
absolutely.
That.
It's all about community. Yep. That's I live here for a reason. I work and live in Corunna for this.
All right, Corey, it's time. Break it down. How do you see the game?
Oh, there's no question.
No question.
Everything that I ever go into is to win, right?
Amen. Amen.
If you don't believe, you got to believe.
Yep.
If you don't believe, I don't want to hear it.
Right on.
We're in it to win it.
Yep.
I'm so glad I was on Tony Nash's podcast, and he put me on the spot. This was like 3 weeks ago.
I heard this, yeah.
I said, look, Cavaliers all the way. They're going to win it.
We
not just show up at Ford Field.
For a month. We knew what day, and we said, clear the schedule.
Yep.
That's where we're going to be.
Well, we appreciate it, Corey. We'll see you here the rest of the day here.
We'll let you get back to England.
Yeah, thank you.
Watch your foot down there.
Thanks, guys. I'll be careful. Thank you guys for being here.
Appreciate it. We love it. I'm going to read a couple. Yeah, go ahead and just set that down. Okay. A couple other people chiming in here. We got people love the Cavs.
This is awesome.
We got cheering on Corunna from Frankenmuth. Good luck to the Cavs. Beat Grand Rapids Capital Central. Allison Urick Tappan said that. And then we got Alan Kohleberger, class of 88, and Mark Kohleberger, class of 85. They're on the way to Ford Field right now from Wisconsin.
Wow.
So, man, the Cavs are bringing people together from all over the world, all over the country.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is pretty cool, too, that they're able to participate and listen to us live right now. Watch us, too, if they're at home on their computers, right?
That's what's cool. I mean, yeah, we're broadcasting live on Facebook Live and on our YouTube page. But, yeah, so hopefully people who are, not able to make it down will at least live amongst it here. I think Bart recommended this. Spin this around.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, look at this. I don't know if you can see it very well, but look at all these people, all these calves. I don't know. That gives you a decent little picture of what's going on here at Buffalo Wild Wings downtown. So, I mean, it's just super cool to see everyone coming out for the Cavaliers.
By the way, Matt, this room technically holds 250 in standing room. And there's another room right across the hall.
I mean, it's got to be full.
Same amount, and that's about full over there.
I mean, because we got people eating on benches out here, and I mean, everyone is just.
Well, I mean, if you're going to throw a tailgate in late November in Michigan, down in Detroit, why not be inside at Buffalo Wild Wings, right?
Hey, Woody. We get Easton? Yeah.
We're going to try and bring in another Corunna legend.
Bring whoever. This is.
I know he'll talk a little Corunna football.
Absolutely. By the way, we just had Corey Shook on. Corey Shook and Associates Real Estate Services, representing the region's finest properties with exceptional skill using the most innovative technologies currently available. And also Nelson House Funeral Homes, when you need them most, they'll be there, committed to your satisfaction, your peace of mind before, during, and long after the funeral. Who do we have here?
We got the legend, Brent Gieskin.
That's what I thought.
From so Brent Gieskin here, played quarterback in the mid-'90s for Corunna.
I remember Brent.
We've had a couple other people on. Kyle Clough, John Miller joined us. What years did you play for Corunna, for anyone not familiar?
So I was varsity 96 and then 97. I was on the regional championship team, the first ever one. And, special time.
Awesome. So we've got to, so we talk on the podcast a lot. You know, Jared Patel, he was on 2016 team, broke a bunch of Kyle Clough's records that are now being broke by Wyatt Bauer. Mount Rushmore. You played quarterback. Yep. And so we joke, if I did a Mount Rushmore, I'm thinking of guys I watched. Matt Pangborn, Ryan St. John, you, and then obviously Kyle Clough is always number one. You threw me the ball a lot. What would be your Corunna Cavalier Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks?
Wow, that's a great question.
When he's getting in a passing offense, he's number one.
That's what I'm saying. You had to hand the ball up a lot, right? I mean,
we did. We started to throw it more my senior year. Was when we probably changed the offense a bit, and it's funny now because you look at numbers, you look at stats. The game has changed so much. It's nowhere near what it was. But back to your question, I would say Mount Rushmore, Wyatt. I think Wyatt is, in my opinion, the best player ever to play at Corunna. Bold statement. There's a lot of good ones.
Could be.
Kyle Clough, I always say, was the best quarterback. Scott Tremere was a great option quarterback.
He was 94, right?
Yes, he was. Yep, he was on the 94 team. Awesome option quarterback. Then numbers-wise, the Sawyer kid, I believe a couple of years ago, had
he put up some big numbers.
So, we've had a lot of good ones. There's some names. Dave Prasky in the early 90s was a really good player, too. So I think we've had a lot, and, things definitely change. And it's really good now to see the way that, I think we're just pumping out a lot of kids now that years change and time goes by. And another kid and another kid that is really special.
Yeah. What about Mount Rushmore of teams?
Okay.
So I think it's easy to say this team's got to be up there number one.
Fair enough.
I'm biased. I'm going to stick with 2002. Jared gives me crap and says that our schedule was weak, and he says other stuff. I'm still sticking to 2002.
Yeah.
And then Ted's going to go back to the 70s and throw some of those teams on. I'm putting 94 and 96. That's the fourth. 2023, 2002, 94 and 96.
Yeah, I think. Well, we were on 96, but we had some guys who were on the 96 and the 94 team.
Right.
And they would say 94 was better than us.
Oh, really?
Even though we went a little further. But I would say 94 for sure. Obviously, like you said, this team I think is number one. I would put your team up there when I look at the guys you guys had. And you guys beat Mount Pleasant. You guys beat some big schools. You beat Elding, and you lost to a team who beat you twice in basketball and just a loaded
bunch of
team,
jerks.
Right?
Yep.
94, 96, 2002. And 92 was good. I believe they were the Cardiac Cavs.
Oh, right.
I think they're special. And Jared's team.
Jared's team they were a good team.
So,
there's some good ones.
A lot's changed too. Like with playoff teams, there's a lot of teams that probably could have made some noise if they would have got in. But back in the day, if you didn't go 9-0,
about that all the time.
Oh, sorry. I'd be remiss to say the 76 team.
76.
Yeah,
76
they just missed out.
And the 47 team, right?
Yeah. 40. Well, I think it was 45, 47, 48 were all undefeated. Claimed state championships back in that day. But the only team that I can, and again, I wasn't around to watch them, but looking at statistics, what they put together, the 55 team, okay, they had won 37 straight
That's Jared's
games.
reaction all the time when he brings
Hey,
historian.
You can't knock 37 straight wins, right?
No.
And consensus state championship, they pitched a complete shutout defensively. They gave up 13 points on the year. All 13 points were scored on turnovers.
Holy
so the
cow.
defense didn't give up a point. So
Crazy.
that's the only team statistically you can look at that even compares to this.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Speaking of records, is your record ever going to be beat?
I thought it was good. I thought the overall career was going to be beaten this year, but it's safe.
Because when we interviewed the Bauer brothers after they won a track state title earlier in the summer, Tarek or Wyatt?
No, Wyatt said he's taking it.
Wyatt said I'm taking it, and it still stands. So that might never get broken. Is Mike Jackson's punt record still standing? That was another one. That was like.
It's also funny about Mike with that punting story. He wasn't the punter. Gary Ziegel was.
Okay.
Right.
So Mike kicked one punt. And
it was the record.
And bounced.
Is he here yet? Because I'm going to say this. He got a good bounce.
I mean, you're a Corunna guy. You grew up here, all that kind of stuff. How cool is it to see like this community support and people coming back for the team?
The mid-'90s of Corunna sports were such a great time. But one of the things that always that was so special was that it didn't matter if you were 92 or 98 or everybody in that range was always together.
Yep.
So a lot of good friendships were built out of there, and there was a great culture there. And I think more than anything, going to the last 6-7 games, you've really seen the best of what Corunna is.
Yep.
You've seen so many people that you haven't seen in years. And it's just a special time that this has brought everyone back together.
For sure.
And Corunna, above anything, I know has been said, is definitely a football town. I mean, there it is. I live in another town that's also in the state championship. And they don't have nowhere near the amount of stuff that you would see if you go downtown in the sports.
Right.
So definitely a special time.
Awesome. Well, we'll let you get back to the mingling. Do we have anything to give away?
Yeah.
We got anything?
You're not going to get my wings.
Yeah, you want some free wings? We got some giveaway stuff. We'll hook you up.
Dansville.
Okay.
Oh, you live over by Adam Scott lives over there now. Oh, really?
Yeah,
Get yourself some gear there, courtesy of AZ.
Hey, guys, thanks so much. And I
Brett.
appreciate everything.
Yeah, man.
see ya.
Love it. Watch your feet down there again.
We're here at Buffalo Wild Wings in downtown Detroit. I think the next interview, we're at a little bit after 1 o'clock, Matt, but I think we stick around a little longer. Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the big question is you.
I'm
you
fine.
got duties to call the game. I also want to, mingle with some friends and stuff.
Okay.
I'm having to wait. But no, we'll go for a little while.
Okay.
What's up?
You guys are busy out here. So.
Yeah, a little bit. We're just chatting about the Cavs here, but you want to come on and talk to us a little bit?
Have a chat while I use the restroom.
Sure. Bring on Kyle Gregorico over here. Watch your feet. Watch the cords down there. Ted's running off. So here's Kyle Gregorico sporting varsity jacket.
Sporting that varsity jacket. First time in 20 years. 21.
It's not cracking or anything.
No, maybe when I get out in the rain a little bit.
Right. So Kyle graduated with me 2003. Played basketball together.
Absolutely.
You are now the soccer coach. So you're a Corunna guy. I mean, I know you came into Corunna freshman year of high school, but you've been around for quite a while.
That black and gold. Black and gold. It's once it gets in you, you know how that is.
It doesn't leave. I mean,
That's right,
we got
that's
people.
right.
We got someone from South Korea over here. I flew in this morning. There's other people. We got people coming in. They're driving from Wisconsin. People from Missouri or something driving in.
You know,
how cool is it? You moved away too.
That's right.
And then you came back. So how cool is it? What brought you back? How cool is it to see this Corunna?
I think I could talk about my family, my daughter, wanting her to be a part of this kind of area and atmosphere. You see all the people here, man. What they're here for one reason. That's the sport, Corunna Cavaliers, and sport. Half these people probably don't even know these boys.
Right.
They're here to support them, and
It's
awesome.
definitely a
It's
unique
awesome.
thing because I've lived in a few different states also, and obviously there are other schools like it, but I think this is very unique. Something like this for a small town. I mean, you got people coming in, like you said, somebody I might not even know any of the players, but they want to get their varsity jacket back out.
Absolutely.
They want to get all their other gear back out. It's pretty cool. So you played on, we played basketball together. The team that went to the Final Four played
That's
on
right.
wrestling.
That's right.
Coached by John Fattel, you know.
What a legend. What a legend he is.
Legend, you know, won the state championship in '83 on the basketball team.
This whole kind of vibe at the school, it reminds me a lot of that because it's everybody going in one direction.
Yep.
Everybody just doing everything they can to support Corunna. It's awesome to see all this. Love to see you guys here doing this stuff too.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about Corunna all the time. For a while, we try to be, at least early in the season, we're like, all right, let's try to be a little biased. Once Corunna started making a run, it was like, all right, bias is going away. But like I saw Corunna, they did a pep assembly for the football team. We had that pep assembly during basketball season.
That's right.
Like now, we're the old guys now. Like looking back on our playing days 20 years ago, like what would your advice to the players going into this game, or even your soccer team? Maybe your soccer team makes a little run from your experience. You had a lot of success as an athlete.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm trying to tell these guys last couple of weeks, and I'm sure, like you said, I'm the old guy. They're not listening to what I'm saying, but just try to remind them that this is special.
Right.
This isn't something that happens every year.
Yeah.
For some schools, I mean, you look at the Cougars over there.
They go every year, basically.
That's something that we at Corunna aspire to, is putting together programs that can compete year in and year out.
Yeah.
This is special what they're doing, and boy, no matter what happens today,
I mean, look at this.
It's a big deal.
I'll cut you off. Sorry.
Hey,
you got a 75 jacket over here. I mean, this is awesome.
Hey.
Ted, what yours is 74?
Mine's 74. I got her beat.
So Ted, but again,
there's a couple 74s. Yeah, well, you got to. Corunna Cavalier pride. You're talking about soccer a little bit. Thanks for Andrew Jack coming to play football this year.
Oh, hey. Well, I can tell you I had nothing to do with that, but I was just talking to people kind of after that, and the one thing I've tried to tell everybody is, if you're a coach, if you're a teacher, if you're somebody that's working with kids, what's the one thing that you want to try to do? And that's try to help these kids, put them in a position where they have opportunities and I absolutely love the fact that now he's getting looks at different colleges to go kick and do different stuff.
Yeah.
Changing. He was a baseball guy, and now he has the other opportunities open to him. I just love that. Love it for him. Happy for him. Very happy.
Opportunities that he may not have had if he didn't play football.
These are and this game could come down to those fine margins. Yep. When you got a solid kicker like that, yeah, he's gonna do an excellent job. Excellent job.
Well, we'll let you get back to the mingling. I'll come see you.
Take that prize with you.
A little prize for you.
Thank you so much, guys. Hey, go Cavs.
Go Cavs.
Keep up the good work, guys.
All right, thanks. Wow.
It's filling up even more.
The other side is filled up, man. I'm going to leave it up to you. You're going to do your socializing. How long you want to go? You want to go for more minutes?
I mean, 120, 115. We'll go for 10, 15 more minutes.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Maybe see if someone else walks by we want to have come in. But
let me mention, I just gave away a Rivals gift card. Rivals is our official gathering spot, the hometown family-friendly sports bar located in Corunna, dedicated to providing fun atmosphere for you and your friends and family. And, we talked to Jim Woodworth, Success Group Mortgage and Servicing. He's focused on your success, the home financing team, over 25 years experience in the origination of all kinds of loans.
So we'd be remiss not to say, we've mentioned him a few times, the third guy in our podcast, Jared.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously anyone who listens and watches our stuff knows we usually have a third guy with us, Jared. His full-time job is with Valley Sports Detroit, and they do an awesome job covering these state championship games. So obviously he's very tied up because I don't see it on a TV in here. There's a game going on right now. Is it Mason? I think Mason is playing right now.
Yeah, they're kicking off. If they haven't kicked off already, kicking off soon.
So yeah, he's tied up there. He hasn't had the chance to hop in, but Valley does an awesome job. And it was really cool to see the feature that he produced on Corunna. He told us that he was going back to town to do this feature. We've posted it on our Facebook page, and it's airing on Valley Sports Detroit also.
Oh, it's outstanding. Outstanding work.
He did a really good job of capturing Corunna football. Corunna, we've said it a few times now today. Corunna's a football town, and, interviewing the players, Coach Herrick, and just a really good feature by Jared and the people at Valley.
I haven't looked it up, but that song selection he picked, too, was perfect. I'm not sure who that's by. I know one thing for sure. It wasn't by Jack Harlow, for God's sake.
Yeah, real quick. So Thanksgiving now, a few days ago. We don't need to get into the game.
Right.
Lions just played a stinker, lost to the Packers. But you were there.
Yeah.
You were standing room only.
Standing room only.
It seemed like the atmosphere was crazy, but did it start to?
Well, it could have been even crazier. I mean, Detroit just did not play well. Let's face it. Jared Goff did not have a good game. The offensive line did not have a good game.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you look at Goff's numbers, hell, he's over 300 yards, but it didn't matter. They just never were really into it. When the Packers won the toss and elected to receive, and then Love takes them downfield looking like a younger version of Aaron Rodgers, we had the feeling that it was going to be tough. Detroit did answer, but that was about it.
Yeah.
That was about it. The atmosphere was really good in the stadium. I'd say if you've never been to a Lions game, definitely do it. The standing room only option is your least expensive option, but it's still a great setup. If you get in there early enough, we had good seats, but yeah, it was fun.
Jack Harlow, though, halftime show.
Jack Harlow,
you were not a fan.
Horrible. I had a text. I don't know if you were on my my text string. I had to ask, is the sound bad on TV?
Yeah.
Because it was horrible.
I didn't. I mean, once I saw I'm not a big Jack Harlow fan. I know some of his stuff, but we were at my father-in-law's house, so halftime came. I was like, I'm gonna go, mingle or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't stick around and watch because the set looked pitiful.
Yep.
And then it sounds like the performance was even worse.
It was so amateur, and I think the Lions as an NFL team, they're a big time entity. They've got the 8-3 season going right now. They've got the buzz nationally, but to put on a halftime, why do it even?
Right.
Why even do it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess you have to have someone.
Right.
So you wonder if they were down to their third, fourth, fifth choice.
But the Detroit Cooley marching band would have been better than that performance.
Right. Yeah. Pretty crazy. A couple more comments before we start to kind of move away. Duke and Celis, I think I'm saying that right. He says, "Let's go." Quincy Glass. Now I remember watching Quincy.
Quincy was an outstanding back.
We were watching or talking to Brent Gieskin. Quincy was around that time. Definitely remember watching Quincy play football, basketball, and baseball. He said, "Let's go, Brent." Jeff Zadunik, he's saying all in from Florida, go Cavs. And this is funny. Christina Ruggiero Conley, she was my sixth grade science teacher. And that's what she said, sixth grade science teacher watching from Florida.
All right.
I remember Miss Ruggiero as one of my teachers in middle school. So just again, and we've said it 100 times, but we can't say it enough. I mean, this place is filling up. It's basically standing room only, elbow to elbow. Corunna travels. I mean, I'm very curious to see that whole side, Corunna side of Ford Field today. It might be packed. It's going to be full.
Oh, well, they're definitely going to have the majority of the crowd without question, and even they'll have all the outliers rooting for the Cavaliers too. I mean,
we've had Frankenmuth and a bunch of other communities messaging that they're in.
Right. So it's been a fantastic, magical season so far. We're glad to be a part of it here at Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm not sure there's anybody else there. I mean, we could grab people left.
We could grab people, but I think people are having a good time. But let's kind of wrap it up. So what tie off this season? I mean, obviously the big one is today at 4. You've come this far. It's kind of like sometimes like with the Lions. People say, I want to see them win a division and make the playoffs. But then once you make the playoffs, you want to win some games and make the Super Bowl. Absolutely. You don't want to just lose and that's okay. So Corunna's in the state championship. You want to win.
Got to go for the win.
We've talked about it. Coach Herrick told us, players have told us, everything. They believe they can win.
They do.
They 100% believe they can win. Who cares if Grand Rapids Catholic Central has won 5 titles in 7 years, 11 overall. This is Corunna's
That's
first.
the past. That's the past.
This team, they've been together since they were kids. They have all the talent in the world. They believe. And it's just been an incredible season. You've been there every step of the way.
Yeah. And I think it was a good move, kind of like from Hoosiers, where Coach Herrick brought the team down yesterday to watch a little football, come get feel the atmosphere there, not be intimidated when they get off the bus today, which I don't think they would anyway. But that was a good move to come on down.
For sure.
Check it out.
Just come on down and just be like, look, everyone knows what Ford Field is. They've probably been there to watch a Lions game. But let's come see the field. Same as anything. We were talking about it on the walk over here. First couple series, there's going to be some jitters.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
But once those pads smack a couple times, it's just another football game.
I hope they start off on defense just for that reason. Help. Get the jitters out, make a few hits, and it's going to be interesting to see too. Wyatt with that
A little bit dinged up.
banged up left shoulder, how he plays on defense. He's getting the start from what I understand. Also, it's going to be interesting. Jaden Eddington, who's been on fire all season long the last couple of years. He was hurt some last year, but if he can if they can develop a little running game with that offensive line, watch out.
Yep. And I mean, this team, we talked to Jason Hutton about it. Everyone knows about Catholic Central, and they're one of the best programs in the state. Corunna's team this year, you can put them up there with talent-wise, top to bottom, depth, everything like that. Kicking game, defense, offensive, defensive line.
Yeah.
There's no reason that Corunna shouldn't believe that they're going to win this game.
100%, Matt. It's going to be a great day for us, a great day for every Cavalier fan, everybody that's
One more
here.
time, I'm going to spin this around.
Yeah, get a feel for the whole crowd here before we sign off.
Look at this right now. I mean, Corunna Nation has traveled for the Cavaliers. I don't know where the boys are at. Hopefully they're not watching this.
Yeah, right.
Hopefully they're doing some meditating like JJ McCarthy.
Yeah.
Or maybe I don't know. They're probably already down here, right? 1:15.
Oh, I would think so.
Either on their way.
I would think so. Yeah, I think the bus. They're real close to being here because I think the buses were leaving at noon.
Yeah, so hopefully they're getting focused, listening to whatever playlist they have, whatever the kids listen to nowadays.
Hope it's not Jack Harlow.
Hopefully
That's
not Jack Harlow. Maybe some Taylor Swift.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
But man, I'm just so excited, and I mean, seeing the support, and I think I've said it already, but people ask me all week. Hey, and here's another one.
Let's grab him. They got to get the superintendent of schools. Get over here, John. We're just getting ready to sign off. Come on over.
We got one more coming in. Good.
Over there. So we'll stretch just a little while longer. This is a perfect way to end it.
Perfect way to end it.
With the superintendent of schools over here.
Watch your feet right here.
I happen to know this guy pretty well.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit of a connection to our
Change his
podcast.
diapers.
Must be raining outside.
It's pouring outside.
Is it really?
It's
Okay.
pouring out,
Yeah.
is it?
We're glad the game is inside.
Yeah.
I got an umbrella here, so I might keep
Except for that walk over to Ford Field, but we'll worry about that later.
Well, John, you made it. You went out to visit your son, Josh, in Arizona. You took the early morning flight to get down here to Detroit. Well done, man.
It's nice. Perfect. I was worried until we landed here in Detroit, got in the Blazer, and on the way to Fort Field.
What'd you think when you walked into this
There's
jam-packed place?
Corunna varsity jackets
Everywhere.
Even walking here through downtown. So
Right.
the whole town is here.
We've been asking everyone. We've had a good 6 or 7 guests on this. We've been on for about an hour and a half now. You know Corunna better than anyone. Same with Ted. Same with a lot of people that we've talked to. What makes Corunna unique, and why do you think that this? Honestly, it's not a surprise that Corunna showed up for something like this.
Because I think everybody identifies with the school. We have tremendous school spirit. We still have small town conservative values, and people pay attention to our athletic teams or any of our teams that we run. There's just a lot of pride here. I mean, it's a huge Corunna reunion.
Yep. Is there any? So it's a very, very, very different era from when you won the state championship in 1983. Social media and a podcast and just everything. With how different it is now. Are there any parallels you see with the support that you guys got making the run, and then what this team is getting?
I think there's a lot of similarities between it. It just galvanized the whole community, and not just Corunna, but the greater Owasso, Corunna, Shiawassee County area. People love to see teams win.
Yep.
And it's just rekindling friendships and memories from when we played high school.
Yeah, some people are getting tired of me throughout time talking about the 83 team for some reason.
I'd be glad to replace the 83 team with the 23 team.
But what I was going to ask is, you were a member of that 83 state championship team that truly, you guys were confident. Nobody else in the state gave you any chance against Oak Park. Kind of the same kind of mindset I got a feeling here for this football team.
Yeah, I think so. Talking to these guys in school, they've had this in their sights for a long, long time.
Yep.
And I'm not saying even just this year. They've set their sights on a state championship back when they were in middle school. And obviously we all know you have to have some luck to get here. But
Got to stay healthy. All
Stay
this
healthy.
stuff.
They believe they can win it. We believed we could win it. And quite honestly, Ted, I think I've shared this with you in the past. I never became nervous in that state championship game.
Right.
None of us did until there was probably 30 seconds to go, and we realized, oh my
This is
God,
about to happen.
we were going to win this.
Guys, it was just another
It
basketball
was
game.
just another game. Yeah.
And, and again, the players you guys played, you got it done. But again, late in that game, the old mentor, Frank Davis, kept it together. Him and Charlie
Absolutely.
Carr came up with the right strategy.
Yeah, you got to have that guidance, that coaching ability to stay calm and stay within the moment and to exude that confidence for your players at a time when they're going to go through adversity and they're going to need it.
Right. Absolutely.
I've said it before to some friends, so Coach Eric, who's coaching this year, was my coach in 2002. I'd be curious to ask him what he's learned, because we came up short, obviously, in 2002 from that little bit of a run, that he maybe has changed or was a learning experience to make him a better coach this year. Not saying he wasn't a good coach then, but, a learning experience for him that, is kind of unique. He left coaching for a little bit, and then he came back, and now he's in a state championship game.
I think that anytime that you coaches analyze their season, even during the season, and what can we do? What can I do differently? What can we do differently in order to take that next step?
It's kind of funny. We see Steve Herrick now, his second stint at Corunna. I'm sure he's a complete different coach than he was when he coached UMass.
Probably.
I mean, he was good then. The maturity level that he has now, and he's watched these kids grow up. What do you say about Coach Herrick, John, and the staff?
I think that Coach Herrick has been a tremendous, the right person to guide this team. Again, Matt and I were just talking a little bit about he has that calming ability about him that the moment doesn't get too big, and the kids understand that and they feel that as well. So he doesn't get rattled. He's done a great job in empowering his coaches as well, and he's done a great job in bringing back some coaches. He has Scott Moeller and Jason Beldiga and Buck Heine, all are helping in various capacities.
It's a family.
It is a family, and so
Coach Harvey's
really
involved too, right?
Yeah, just being able to reach out for whatever little bit of help you can get from someone. Coach Herrick has been able to be that glue to bring the team.
Awesome.
All right, last question, John. We're going to wrap this podcast up. How do you see it today?
Cavaliers all the way.
And you going to break it down at all?
I think that it's the two best teams in Division 5 are meeting at the state championship.
How it should be.
It's how it should be, and it's probably going to be a fantastic game. And like the Michigan-Ohio State game yesterday, whoever makes the fewest mistakes is going to win.
Amen. Amen.
And Corunna's done good at not making mistakes all year. So.
Yep.
All right, John. Appreciate it.
All right.
Catch up with everybody else. We'll see you over at the stadium.
Yep.
I think that's about a wrap almost here, Matt, right?
I think so.
I was going to say one thing
Watch
on the
your feet down
game to
there.
break it down. We talked a little bit about the Michigan contest.
There's the legend right there.
Hi, Mike. How you doing, buddy?
Mike Jackson.
So I was going to say, if the Lions lost on Thanksgiving and Michigan lost yesterday,
Who's going to break the
it's gonna
tie?
be a bad. No, I thought it was going to be a bad.
They
omen.
lost. Yep.
Now I don't think so. Now I
Don't feel
think
bad
Fred's going
about
to
it.
take care of business.
It's one of those things. It's going to play out how it's supposed to play out. But I'm fully confident in Corunna. They've done it every year or every game this year. I think even if they get down a little bit, they have the ability to fight back. They have the defense to fight back, the offense. They just got to play their game.
All right, let's
play their game.
We have the final word here. I'm going to tell you right now, I've been going back and forth how I thought this was going to go. I'm going to go with Bart. I'm going to go with Bart. Corunna is going to dominate this game and send Grand Rapids packing.
Man, I don't know if I can go like that. I love it. I do think it's going to be high score. Yeah, you say whatever you want.
It's my last game.
Say whatever you want. Yeah, it's your last game. I think it's going to be a track meet. Catholic Central's no joke. And
That's true.
Same with Corunna. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a 38-35, something like that. And it might come down to Corunna's kicker.
Could very well could.
That is huge in a game like this. Indoors, too.
He's
indoors.
He's done it all year long, Braden Anderjack.
Well, this has been awesome.
Yep.
Again, we can't talk about it enough. I think the whole town of Corunna is here.
They are.
But,
It's been
this has
fun,
cool.
man. We missed Jared for sure.
Yeah, but he's busy. He's
I know.
crushing it with Valley right
Yeah.
now.
So anyway, let's do it officially here. This has been a very special Farm Fields to Ford Field Corunna Cavalier 3-point podcast tailgate party at the Detroit Buffalo Wild Wings. Got to thank our partners, including Memorial Healthcare's Wellness Center. Sign yourself up for that 2024 membership at 15% off. For 15% off and get healthy. I also want to thank our other partners, AZ Branding Solutions, Jacobs Insurance Agency, Corey Shook and Associates, Real Estate Services, Nelson House Funeral Homes, Rivals Tap House and Grill, Success Group Mortgage and Servicing, Woodworth Commercial, and of course our home here today, Buffalo Wild Wings. Don't forget the Z92.5 Castle Game of the Week. That's coming up in a couple hours. Corunna Cavaliers taking on the Grand Rapids Catholic Central Cougars, number 1 against number 3. Pregame around 3:30. Game will be on Z92.5 and Z92.5.com, and of course Valley Sports on TV. Our first basketball game of the season already Friday night. It'll be 7 o'clock Owasso at Ovid LC. Just say any final words, Matt?
Man, I'm just looking around, and this is crazy. This place is packed.
It's awesome.
We got. You were at the standing room only at Ford Field. This is like standing room only.
Incredible.
Right now.
I'm ready for my wings, though. Peace and love, everybody. Be kind. Thanks for listening, and it's great to be gold.
It's great to be gold. Go Cavs.